Hey guys, Flabaliki here today and welcome back to Cities Skylines. So today we're doing a little bit of a time lapse because I absolutely had enough of this area. It is not working and all the kind of crappy real-time solutions that I'm implementing throughout the episodes are not really working. They work for about an episode, then I come back next time and then they are completely broken. So what we're doing today is basically revamping this entire area, entire like network of highways and roads and all that kind of stuff, just trying to make it all, you know, number one, look good, and number two, actually work, because currently neither of those requirements are being met. It doesn't look good and it doesn't work. So that's pretty useless. So I took some time, I think it was about 2 hours or so, just redoing this, trying to make it something a little bit more acceptable that we can actually look at day in and day out without crying about how sad it is and how upset it makes me feel. So that's exactly what we're doing here. So we're starting off doing the highway. So fixing this raised highway because it's good, but it's just not sort of meeting my requirements. Because basically what I'm trying to do here, so we used to have that major, as you can see, that 8-lane avenue that's sort of bridging over the train line, or it's not right now because I demolished that bit of it. But yeah, that used to sort of flow out that way and act as a main arterial road. Basically, I'm trying to change that. That road will still be there, but it'll be a little bit different. You'll see what I mean in a bit. But we're basically trying to change that and make this whole area flow a little bit better with better highway connections and just more, yeah, a more robust road network. So I'm just basically lining up this highway to make it a little bit more uniform so that it's easier to sort of add roads along it. So as you can see, just like even that, cutting the highways to the same sort of length and just getting the curves to match up and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, just trying to make it work a little bit better. I didn't initially intend on, you know, changing this as much as I did, but I'm glad that I did because I think the end product is actually something really useful. Oh, that sort of slightly wonky highway just made me so upset. That's when I was just like, okay, I got to change this. I've got to change this. So completely just. At first, I was just starting off doing this, and I was like, oh yeah, this will be good. This will be a short little project that I'll spend time on. And then I was like, you know what? Because I at this point I'm still like, yeah, let's do it. Let's just sort of plug it in. Let's plug and play, as you will, like a USB device. Let's just plug and play it and see how we go. So getting those curves back in, looking pretty nice and uniform now that both the highways are the same width apart on both sides. That worked pretty nicely, and just adjusting that up so it's a little bit better of a slope there. And then I think, yeah, when I started redoing this interchange, I think is when I decided that I was like, okay, we gotta fix everything up. And just make it all work a little bit better. So just getting a nice smooth slope there, pretty much just rebuilding what I already had, but making sure that it was done as smoothly and as cleanly as possible, because the problem with this highway is it is pretty hard to get to because it is so raised up. So it's hard to get those roads to sort of flow into it nicely at the height that it's at, and making it feel good. And then I decided, you know what, that whole interchange has got to go. Pretty much all of that has got to go. All of that road that I just put in has got to change because that's not working for me. And I'm just trying to make it a little bit better so that we can, you know, get all the because basically what's going to happen, I've said basically so many times, but essentially what's going to happen is redoing this highway, getting a brand new highway interchange in to sort of feed the area, because we've got this huge industrial area there just above, and then just across the other side of the river we have this huge new high density area that is absolutely filled with loads of new people, loads of offices, and we need a way to effectively get traffic in there without it being bottlenecked too much. And we're pretty much just raising all the roads in that area to make it work better. So what I'm doing here, going to go underneath the highway here. That's where we're going to have an interchange. It's going to go, so this other highway is going to flow directly underneath it, and then they'll sort of have an interchange there. As you can see, I'm just sort of smoothing out the pathway, trying to get a nice little place for it to go through. Of course, do have to demolish some of that stuff so I can get room for it and actually be able to fit it through. So I'm using these sort of the standard roads that have zoning on them at the start, because they actually, you know, they snap to each other and they sort of conform to a grid, whereas highway roads don't. So it's kind of annoying when it comes to trying to line them up. But with these, we're actually able to get them a uniform width apart and get those sort of curves flowing exactly how I would like them to. So that's why, in case you're wondering why I'm using those roads rather than just building them straight off with highways. So what I'm planning on doing here, as you can see, is we're going to turn those two one-way highway roads into one 6-lane avenue road like that. So they'll sort of join together there. And thanks to me using Traffic Manager now, or yeah, it is Traffic Manager, President Edition or whatever it is, I can make sure that all 3 lanes are used correctly instead of, because normally in the vanilla game, cars would be able to do a U-turn there, but I most certainly don't want anyone doing a U-turn there because it's the most useless function and it sort of wastes a couple of the lanes and I only end up using 2 or 1 of the lanes. So just building this little bridge in here over that section. Then I realized they don't line up very nicely, which was quite upsetting. And do I rebuild it again? I don't know. I do this so many times. I don't know what I'm doing and sort of how it's going on here. Or is that it? Maybe that's it. Because that doesn't look too bad. I think that's okay. I don't know if I change it, but I think it's okay now. Yeah, so we have that sort of highway going underneath and you'll see all the ramps going in for that. That took a while as well, just because of the topology of this area, because it is so hilly and it is pretty cramped as well, just because it's so close to the bridge that we have there on the right. Because that's so close to the highway, where we're putting this interchange, it was a bit cramped to try and get this all to fit in. Then we have those railway lines right there, so it was a bit of a challenge to get this to work as nicely as I could get it. But I'm pretty happy with the result. I think it works. I think it works pretty well, and I think it'll be good. Especially this little ramp here. This was quite cramped as well. I would have done it further back, but it means I would have had to extend the regular highway, and I didn't really have room because, as you can see, we have the other bridge coming from the sort of high density area. So like I was saying, it's pretty cramped in this area. I actually did have to remove one of the bypass railway lines just in the industrial area there, but so far, having played with it after this, hasn't really caused us any problems. Right, so right now, I can stop saying basically. Right now, we've got all of the, the standard easy ramps for the highway to go in. Now we've got to do all the ramps that are going to cross each other and bridge, and because they're in left-hand drive, doing left-hand turns with highway ramps is super easy because there's no crossing over the roads. But trying to get the right-hand turns in, we got to sort of bridge over the roads and under and all this kind of crazy stuff to try and get it to work. As you can see, that's what we're doing now. But I think it worked out pretty well in the end, which is good. Oh, also the good thing about, I can't remember if I mentioned this in the last part or not, but because we have Traffic President now, we can, actually, did I even use Traffic President in the last part? Sorry, I'm getting confused because I actually recorded an episode that I never released and I actually reverted the save. Because not basically. What happened is, I built all around this area that I am right now. So in the episode that I deleted and didn't save or anything, I built in this area and I built more industrial and it just became an absolute nightmare. Like the traffic was so bad, it didn't look very good, and I was so uninspired in that episode. And I think I was really boring as well with my commentary. So I was just like, no, no, getting rid of this episode. It didn't turn out well. It wasn't good. So I don't know if did I use it in the last part? I'm going to check now to see if I can't remember. Oh, sorry. If you just heard me talking in the background, that's me. Oh yeah, I did use it in the last part. Okay, cool. Yeah, but because we got the speed limit now, we can use those sort of 6-lane avenues as highways. So we up the speed limit to 90 in all of them. Not 100, because 100 is the actual highway speed in this, but I thought that'd be a little bit lower than a regular highway. But yeah, just raising those up, trying to get them to be as smooth as possible and give us enough room underneath to get all the ramps in that we need, because we need to get all those right-hand turns in, which is definitely the hardest part of a 4-way interchange, especially custom ones. Because sometimes if you just use like a pre-built one, or if you're building on flat ground, it is so much easier. But trying to fit it into this sort of custom space that's a little bit wonky was certainly a challenge, but one that I think paid off because it makes the whole area much better having this full-sized interchange here rather than those crappy avenue roads just sort of having intersections everywhere, not really working how I wanted them to. So just getting a nice little curve there underneath, and that I think, is that our... Oh, no. So this is our second to last right-hand turn. And then we've got to, look how uneven that is. Then we got to get one more in. And this was the hardest one, I think, because I realized how little room I actually had left. to get the next right-hand turn in. I think right here is where I'm trying to figure it out. Because we need... So the highway... okay, it's hard to tell you which one it is without... You'll see me trying to put the... Unless you've been paying attention, then you'll know which one we're trying to do. I think I'm still trying to figure it out. I was looking up above and seeing what it looks like. It looks like a spaghetti of roads, which is to be expected. Yeah, so that highway there needs to be able to turn right and go up that way. Which I don't even know if that road works. Because no one actually uses it in the game when I'm playing it. They don't use it. I don't know if I've connected it properly or what, or if it's just there's no one that actually wants to turn right from that direction. I don't know, but no one ever seems to use that lane. But there's doesn't just looking at it now, it doesn't look like there's any issues when I put that in. But anyway, so yeah, building in these roads. So these also act as like our highways. So you can think of them as, I guess not a highway. I guess if you think of, it's hard to explain because we call, I guess because we call the sort of large, I guess, highways, the one that's running above, we would call that like a motorway if it was like a toll road, or it'd be a freeway if it was just a free road like that. And then we call, this is in Australia anyway, and then we call these 6-lane roads that I'm building with, we call those highways because they're like 6-lane avenues. Well, they're not all highways, but they're highways that we, something like Pacific Highway, for example, is a 6-lane road. Actually, it's not 6 lanes in all places. But anyway, my point is that, yeah, they're acting as highways. So, just got to think about them like a highway. It's just another way to sort of get around quickly between two urban spaces. So as you saw, I just played around with the terraforming tool. I don't know what I was going to say there. We played around with the terraforming tool quite a bit just then, because this place was so, and this also goes back to the Lost episode. It was so uninspiring because the terrain is just so flat. There was no detail. It was just boring as anything. So this time around, I decided let's make it a little bit more interesting. Let's get some more hills. Let's get some rocky areas. Let's give it some texture and something that makes it feel a little bit more real and a little bit more exciting to even just drive through. Because you can see like that whole area there is, well, it's great to build on. I think it's time that we start, making it a little bit more interesting in the city in some places. Because that's the other thing I need to talk about, because I spoke about this in the Lost episode, but I'll speak about it again now because obviously that doesn't exist anymore. Yeah, so a lot of people were wondering when we're going to start a new city. Is this one going to be ending soon? And some people were saying they're getting a bit bored of this city and they want to see something new. So I wanted to ask you guys, and there's going to be a poll that will be linked in the description down below, where you can vote if we should end this series on part 60 or if we should end this series on part 70. Those are the two options, just because 70 would give us a bit more time to sort of finish things off, whereas 60, we could just be like, okay, that's a nice round number. Let's call it a day. We had a good run. Let's start fresh. Let's plan things out again. So, yeah. So 70 just gives us a bit more time. 60 just gets it over and done with quickly. So that's totally up to you. I'll leave that up to you guys to vote. Make sure you do vote, depending on which one you want to see. But yeah, so if, when this series ends, the city ends, we'll start up a new one. I don't know what it will be, what map it will be. I don't know anything about it yet. I haven't decided, but we'll figure that out when we come to it. But yeah, so make sure to vote on that, and then we can figure it out. So yeah, this time, as you guys know, we have that sort of highway, that 2-lane highway coming from the other industrial area. That used to just run directly across the land, and I didn't want to do that again. So as you saw a few minutes ago, I actually sort of, you can see it right there, I sort of conformed it around the landscape, and it goes under the train bridge, and it's just a little bit more interesting than it was before, which I think is pretty cool. And also the train line that we already had there, I think that looks really awesome with it being sort of in the rocky outcrop. It's like they've dug the cliffs out so the train can run through there. Now, this is the first time I was running in the new section, and as you can see, we're having a huge issue with just traffic lining up at the lights and all that kind of stuff, but that is going to change. I'm working on that for the rest of this little time here. I'm putting that back in this, because we used to have this highway connection here that ran across as the sort of entrance to the highway. So I'm adding that back in because we had that before and that was actually quite useful. So that's going to run along here. And then the rest of the area, you'll see in a minute that I do some lane management. And you can see the backup of traffic over there right now. It's awful. But we do some lane management in the minute and make the roads run a little bit smoother. And actually in the end, they run pretty well. Like there's still a lot of traffic, but that's because this area is always going to have loads of traffic. But if we can manage it correctly with the roads and sort of get it all timed properly, it actually can flow quite well. Because the problem right now, I think you can see, is everyone's sitting in one lane, whereas, you know, realistically, there's 6 lanes on all these roads. That one even has 8 now that you can see I've just added on. They should be using more of the lanes, and there should be more than just one turning lane, which by default in the game there is sometimes, but almost no one ever uses a second turning lane if they don't need to. So as you can see, I'm kind of forcing cars to go certain routes by making them choose their lane a little bit earlier. This is something that I did in, I think, my last city, where I kind of went, like in season 2, where I went absolutely mental with Traffic++. That's not something I want to do in this city. Or at least not in real time. As you can see, I'm doing it in a time lapse. I don't want to make you sit through it in real time because trying to figure that stuff out and also watching it is pretty tedious and quite a bit boring. So I thought also to help ease the traffic, we need to get another route. There needs to be another way to get to that industrial area from the other side of the motorway. So I'm adding this little sort of cliff pass that goes underneath the bridge and goes underneath the motorway bridge, and it'll also bridge over that train line just there. So we're going to get this road coming in here, so there's a quicker route for people coming from the other industrial area to this one over here. It'll just provide another path because at the moment we only have pretty much the one path off of this sort of little highway road to get over there. So getting this one in is going to help us out a lot. It will sort of divide the traffic up and just flow in a little bit better. And it totally does. It totally does help us out, which is really, really good. Again, using this sort of terraforming brush just to make the terrain around it look a little bit more interesting than just smooth as smooth can be. Of course, it's not as bumpy can be, but it is, you know, being a little bit smoother. So down here, I actually, and I did this in the missing episode as well, the one I didn't save because it was awful. I built a little industrial area. It was much worse than the one I'm about to build. This one is much nicer. So just building another little industrial area here. Nothing too crazy. It's not big at all. It's quite small. But it does have another cargo terminal or whatever it is, shipping terminal, whatever it's called. I can't remember. Cargo hub, I think, with the ferry, and so they can get all the cargo ships coming in. So this is the third one in this area because we have one across the river and then one in the bay across the river. Then we're getting another one in just here, just because it just adds another route for cargo to be shipped around the place. Also, got a brand new mod. This one's really, really useful. You can now, this mod allows you to unlock roads that come pre-attached to buildings, as you can see, because a cargo hub always comes with a road and you can't change it. So does, I think, the airports and some other buildings. I can't remember right now. But this mod allows you to even completely delete the roads, change them, upgrade them. So what I've done is actually use a one-way lane road. So there's all the vehicles come one way through here and they'll sort of flow out one way as well. And it's been working really, really well. So that's a really useful mod that I have added into my Steam Workshop collections, which you can, if people always ask what mods and assets I use, all the mods and all the assets I use are linked down below. I have 3 different collections. I have the assets collection, then I have the mods collection, and then I have the growable collection, which is sort of custom buildings that will grow on zoning. I haven't really I haven't updated that in ages because I haven't personally got any new ones in a long time, but that's there as well. So if you want to know what I'm using, that mod, I can't remember what it's called, but it will be the most recent one added to the collection, so you'll be able to find it in there. So that'd be really cool. Yeah, so there's a nice little road that sort of just drives around that little, I wouldn't say cliff, down that little hill area there into this industrial section, and then it sort of splits off into that one-way lane, and then we're going to get it coming back in that way as well. So they sort of just flow around the one way and come back out again. And then this is just going to be a little industrial area with a few buildings here and there. Nothing, you know, too insane or too crazy. Just getting a little raised up area there as well for some more industrial. Again, nothing too crazy. It's not even, I don't even fully zone this area. I leave a lot of gaps and just have it, you know, pretty casual. Yeah, it's pretty casual. But there is a police station and fire department that I do put in here as well. So that, I think that's pretty much the area there, like in terms of size anyway. Just adding some concrete down there as well to make it look a little bit more, you know, industrial, I guess, rather than just being on some sand, which which it was before. And then to appease the people that like pipes going underneath roads, I'm doing that as well for you, so that it, you know, I don't know. It makes no difference to when you look at it in game, but you'll know it's there. You'll know it's done like that. And then I'm just getting some power lines coming across through this little new road that we put in as well, because I thought that was a perfect way to get sort of power to come over there. Didn't want to go over that road very nicely though, which was kind of annoying. Yeah, so we're just running some power lines down over there. I could have used like the underground power lines, but I thought this area looked fine having those ones in there. Anyway, so that cargo hub now has power and water, and then yeah, like I said, we're only getting little areas of industrial zoning sort of put into that space. And then I'm finally, I know people have been asking me to do this for ages, forever. You've wanted me to like use all these props that we have in the game. It's something that I've never really gotten into, so I thought I'd start doing it. I'm not very good at it. I also don't really have any custom props. I think there's a few custom props in there from some buildings that I've subscribed to, but not really. So there's not a lot that I can do. I mean, as you can see, I'm putting a few things here and there, discovering what's in there, but I don't really have any custom stuff, so there was nothing that worked that well. But you know, I had to play around with it. I had a bit of fun. It's not something in this particular city that I want to do a lot of, just because we've already come so far not doing this. I think when we start a new city, we can do some more detailing. But you know, I thought I'd try it out in this part anyway, just to see what all the see what all the fuss was about, have a bit of fun with it. And it was fun. It was also quite relaxing, just, you know, placing things here and there. But yeah, I don't want to do a huge amount of like the intricate detailing in this particular city, just because the rest of the city is just not like that at all. So it doesn't really fit in with anything else. But it was a bit of fun. So yeah, now I've got to try and get the train line rocking in here, because we have the cargo train line there. And I wanted this connected to the network. So that's exactly what we're going to do. So we have the train line just up there, and we're going to actually just bridge it over that road. So it's going to sort of come around this sort of river, I guess, alongside the river there, and then just smoothly slope up and curve around, and then just bridge across and connect to the existing train line we have in there. So there's not too much work that we had to do to actually get that to connect, which is quite good. So we sort of come up like that. And then, yeah, this is where I noticed that we have a lot of... The issue here is that people trying to turn right are blocking people that are just trying to go straight ahead. So I've actually decided to use this 3-lane road that has the turning lane. And as you can see, so it sort of adds the turning lane and then has one lane that goes forward. So any cars that are, you know, like just driving along can keep driving without getting stuck behind someone trying to turn right, which is good. And also just turning up the speed limit on all these industrial roads, because I thought they were a little bit slow. They were 30. I decided to turn them up to 40 just so they could drive a little bit faster. And also just getting in that fire department right now. I thought that sort of European style one looked a little bit more industrial than the, I guess, generic theme. Or not generic, yeah, no, it is generic theme, isn't it? Yeah, it just looked a little bit more industrial. That was also... I chucked that one in as well. No one wants to build up the top of my little industrial area. It's really sad, actually. It's really sad. No one wants to build up the top. Just, guys, can you just build up the top, please? And I thought I had a little key in there, because I thought it looked kind of cool. But yeah, they do build up there eventually. I think I put a skate park up there just because people weren't building up there. I think because there was like no services really. So I put a skate park in, because none of the other parks that I have, that's the other thing I really need to get on top of, is actually getting either making custom parks or finding some really nice ones. Because that's something that I've been yammering on about for donkey's years, but I've never actually done. I think I did it once looking for parks, and then that was about it. Anyway, so that train line is connected nice and smoothly, and we can see all these trucks flowing in and out of the area quite well and quite nicely. So I was quite happy with that. And then again, using the terrain tool to sort of just make the area look a little bit more natural, a little bit more rugged, just something a little bit more interesting than what we had before, which I think we could all agree this looks much better than it did at the beginning of this episode, which is something that I cannot say for the episode that I deleted. That looked awful. It did not look good. And it actually looked worse at the end of that episode. So I totally just forgot about it and just got rid of it. I thought I'd change the trees, because this area looks a little bit more mountainy than, or like more rocky and more, I guess, more mountainy. So I thought I'd get in some sort of conifers and because I was also downloading new trees and all this kind of stuff from the workshop. I was having a bit of fun with that because basically what I just did is I went to the workshop and just went for most subscribed all time. And then I found all these assets that people have been using for years that I've just never used. So I thought, you know what? I'll download some new trees. And I thought these trees actually fit the area really, really nicely. So I was quite happy with that. And again, just doing that sort of 3-lane turning lane area there so that cars can pass without getting stuck behind people trying to turn, which actually worked out pretty well again. So that was nice. And yeah, this little industrial area is coming along quite nicely. Look at it there. Beautiful. Just redid that key because I accidentally demolished. Like, I didn't actually mean to demolish the key, but I did. But I did. It was an accident. I really like how that sort of little road goes underneath the train, like the 2 train bridges there. I think it looks really cool. And you can see a lot of people are using that new highway connection that we have going under the motorway there. A lot of people using that, which has actually really helped ease the traffic as well at the other intersections, which is quite nice. And I'm just thickening up the trees here, making them a little bit more dense. And you can see just how busy that these roads here are. They are absolutely packed with traffic now. Well, I mean, they always were, but I think they flow a lot better now. Like, we can see the traffic building up from time to time. But for the most part, it actually flows on quite nicely. But let's take a closer look at everything. Right, so here we are. Oh, geez. Ignore that bit there. But yeah, here we are. So this is the new industrial area. I definitely want to clean up these edges here. That was kind of just to mark out the space. I'll fix that up. Yeah, the new industrial area with the little road here. Yeah, this whole area, I think if we look at it from above, we can see that it actually functions pretty well for the most part. Obviously, we get a bit of traffic build up there, a little bit there as well, and sometimes on this side when, you know, when the lights change. But for the most part, it actually all flows quite well. As you can see, even though the traffic built up there, it's all gone now. And it builds up there very nicely as well, using all 3 lanes, which I'm so happy about. So I added this lane in, which I don't think you even... Like, it was briefly in the time-lapse, but you didn't see me build it in the time-lapse. This was just because everyone turning left here was just making it... They were just slowing everyone down when realistically they can just go left whenever the hell they want. It didn't really matter. So that just sort of sped everything up there, and I think it looks, you know, it looks just fine. So I was quite happy with that. So that worked quite well. And thankfully, due to traffic precedent, when we go junction restrictions, we can actually allow cars to queue up across the intersection so they don't have to like sit all the way back there and look weird, which is good. Yeah, so we have that sort of this main road flowing straight through here now, which it used to be this road flowed directly to the industrial area. Now they actually have to go through a few intersections and go left. So it's not as direct anymore, but it's not really intended to be. Now the direct route is supposed to be this main highway flowing through here onto this one. Like, that's that highway flowing directly through. And it also branches off into this huge downtown area that we have here, which I think, yeah, this is a little bit dodgy. Everyone's sitting in this left lane. Really don't like that. I'm gonna... Oh, jeez, that's not good. Everyone's sitting in that lane as well. Jeez, that's something I'll... There's a reason they're doing that. I'm not sure what it is, because... not everyone's turning left. I think I'll turn that into a left lane and that can go... Anyway, that needs to be changed. Because it's backing up onto this highway. Yeah, anyway, so that this main area now flows through there. Like, that's the main route of the highway. That's what it should be. And then we have this... I really like this part, actually, here, where it sort of comes under the railway bridge and comes around. Rather than it just, you know, it used to be direct right over here. Which is great, but it didn't work very well. And like I was saying in the time-lapse, the sort of train line running through here, I really, really like how it's sort of carved out between the hillsides now. I think that looks really, really cool. And of course, we had this new sort of highway going underneath, or a little express road going underneath, just so we have another route. So now we have this road here, one over there, and I think that's it actually. And then this sort of main road into it as well. So there's a few connections, and of course a highway as well. Also, we seem to be having a job shortage across the whole city. Like, we don't have enough people, but that's a problem for another day. We'll wait for another episode for that. But yeah, I think that's all going really, really well. You can see how these roads here work, where people going straight ahead will jump into that middle lane, and they'll sort of flow back into this one, because you can see, so they flow right on. If we have someone might turn left, maybe. No, oh, that guy slowed everybody down. Yeah, anyway, it's not really. And then if you go forward across there, it's good. Underneath, there you go. Yeah, it works pretty well, because it stops people cutting each other off, except for this bit. But yeah, so that helps out quite a lot. That train is very filled with cargo. Very full. Yes, it is very full. A lot of people sitting in that left lane there as well, as they love... I don't know what it is about this game and using one lane, but they change eventually, but it's kind of annoying. Yeah, so all of this road here is 90 all the way along, and then it goes up to 100 on the highway. Whereas, like you can see here, I've actually made it so the 100 zone starts here, because technically this is the start of the highway, or like the, you know, separate lane highway. This one goes down to 90 because this whole area is 90, so you can see it sort of slows down there. So it slows down a little bit further back, so I thought that was quite good. And then here's the interchange as well. Yeah, actually, so this was the one that... Oh, two people using it now. Good! I'm glad to know that that right-hand turn there actually works, because for the longest time, nobody used that. It's actually a really unpopular route for some reason. I don't know why, but it really, really is. Everyone's sitting in that lane. Can some people use... There you go. One person using that lane. That's good. Anyway, so the lanes are a bit funky, but for the most part, everything actually works really well, and it all flows quite nicely. I think this area looks really cool. I don't know if I want to do anything else in here. Any more buildings or anything. Like, I think it could probably just stay like that. But having a look at it now, I really like the trees, but I don't think it really fits with anything, does it? And I only just noticed that a little while ago, because we have these trees everywhere, all the oak trees everywhere else. Maybe I might change those. But that's it for this time. Make sure to leave your comments, suggestions, and feedback down below. Next time we'll be back. We'll probably do some stuff over here with the downtown area. And don't forget to vote on that poll that I mentioned earlier, because that will be really, really useful, because then I know when we should be wrapping it up and moving on. But yeah, I think I might change those trees, because it don't think it matches anything else in the city at all. No, we have all the other trees. I was going to say over there, but not really. Yeah, anyway. Thanks for watching, guys. I will see you next time, and have an awesome day.